intro. Good morning and welcome to Essential Ingredients. Today I have the great pleasure to welcome Katy Tucker and Lisette Howard, co-founders of Sunnie. Welcome,
Thanks for
ladies.
having us.
Thank you.
I'm really pleased to have you here. I know what your product is. Guests don't know yet, so I'd love for you, before we dig in, to just share with them what Sunnie is in 30 seconds or less, right? Because we'll dig into the other stuff through conversation, but just so they get the idea, the high level.
Okay. So Sunnie was born out of necessity. We're two moms on a mission to upgrade snack time. Sunnie is a prepackaged snack that some may liken to like a Dunkaroo or a Lunchable, but our products are all made with super clean, simple ingredients that are made with just like nothing but the best stuff. So we don't use any refined sugars. We don't use any seed oils. We don't use any gluten. So those are kind of like the reasons why we exist. But really our mission is to bring clean, easy to read products to market for busy families on the go.
I love that. So maybe Lizette, you can share with us a little just to tap onto what Katy said, but what was the inspiration behind this? I know you're both mothers. I know you both have children. I know you met that way. What were we looking at that inspired you to then create this product or these products?
Yeah, so Katy and I both have three kids apiece, all under the age of 11. And for us, as you know, we met in a baby group when our eldest were 2 months old. But as our kids started going to elementary and we were making lunches, I actually personally despise making lunches. It's not my favorite thing. But as we started talking about what was on the market for our families, we kept coming back to the fact that there was, for us, we could get sushi, a salad at a grocery store, baby food was available in refrigerator. And for our kids, it was like a Lunchable or like a meat and cheese tray. And we couldn't believe that the landscape hadn't changed in the last 30 years for our kids. And so the mission and the reason that we exist is like we wanted to give our kids a better option that still felt fun, but updated the ingredients in a way that like we felt good about. So that's really the premise behind it, was like our kids, and that grew outside of like the lunchbox that we call it, and it's really for anybody, right? We call it for like the whole modern family. Anyone in the household grabs it, and they just feel good about what they're grabbing.
So it sounds amazing, and I love the fact that you've tapped into making something gluten-free and vegan and all these different things. Why did you think that was important?
Yeah, I think I'll take that one. We see the marketplace kind of shifting, and I think we can all agree, just like with kind of public policy, people's attention toward better quality products for their households it's not becoming that thing that's kind of on the fringe any longer. It's more of pervasive in American society. People care what's on their label. And it's not just like the macros, like the protein and the fiber. Like it's more about like what's actually on the label, like what is the ingredient. Goes back to your podcast, Justine, essential ingredients. But it is important to people. And we as parents felt like there wasn't enough products in the market that actually addressed that growing concern that families have of, when I pick this label up, I don't know what half the things are on this label when they're at the grocery store, and wondering why. Like, why is a lot of prepackaged American food products full of just stuff we don't know? And people tell us a lot that our ingredient panels read like a recipe. Like the crackers are made with 5 ingredients. Everything is simple, meant to be that way. It's made with real food. And that's really like the gap we saw. We're like, hey, wait a minute, nobody's doing this. And why? And the reason why is because it's hard. And we'll get into that because it's not easy to do what we do.
So when you put together these recipes, and they really do run the gamut from like a snack to a dessert, in my opinion, which can still be a snack, right? It's just sweet or savory, I guess. Um, how did you guys come up with the recipes? Did you work with a recipe developer? Do you guys have a background in that? I know, Katy, you were in fashion, and Lisette, you did online marketing. So, maybe food was a hobby, or, I'm curious. How did you drill down to get that really well-balanced, healthy recipes for these SKUs?
Katy and I, our hobby is food. We just naturally love food, cooking it, going to dinner, all of the above. So deep passion and just the love for food. And then we also worked with a pediatric nutritionist and a recipe developer. So for us, it was really important that when we were putting together the products, that it was like balanced nutrition. So there was never too much sodium or too much one or the other. We really wanted it balanced for that meal, for that mealtime moment. And then we worked with the recipe developer. So we kind of all worked together. But we wanted all of our products to have like a very nostalgic feel to them. So we wanted, you know, when you eat a pizza dipper to be like, oh, I remember eating something like this 30 years ago. When you eat, you know, the cocoa spread, oh, I remember this in a different format. So for us, that's kind of how we've like picked what the flavor profiles are. And then we work together with both the pediatric nutritionist and our recipe developer to meet meet all the guidelines that we had in place.
It was funny when I picked up your products, they were nostalgic to me. There was something, and I can't put my finger on it, that had cheese on the one side when I was a child, because I'm gonna guess I'm just a little bit older, but cheese on one side and crackers on the other. And then from the Japanese market, there was like these other cookie things, and then you
Uh-huh.
stick them in the chocolate, which also could be
Mhm.
reminiscent of Nutella-ish, but that's
Yeah.
where my head went, and I totally
Yeah.
remember those things like it was
Totally.
yesterday. Um,
Yeah, me too.
Totally, right? I can't remember what they're called
That
now.
that's the real inspiration there for us. Like we want all of our products to always have that feel of when you bite into it, you're like, I know this taste. Like
Hmm.
I remember this.
And the
Um,
other one reminded me of a pizza bagel, although it wasn't on a bagel, but the idea of a pizza bagel. Because 100 years ago, we used to get the little ones that were frozen,
Yeah.
probably not terribly healthy, and you'd stick them in the
Mhm.
toaster, right? And eat that. I mean, so okay, so now you've built you came up with this idea. It's COVID. You're going direct to consumer, and neither one of you had ever been an entrepreneur before. What was that journey like to then kick this off, knowing you'd never done it before? It's a crazy time in the world, and it's expensive and challenging.
I mean, I think we all, yeah, I mean, I think a lot of us like in the food like industry now that we've like made friends always joke that like it's almost better that we didn't know about the industry because you might have some hesitations. It's always easier to go in, you know, not knowing what you don't know because I think like knowing nothing about the industry, we felt more compelled to change it. And so one of the things that we experienced very early on that a lot of entrepreneurs experience is like, you can't do that. Like, no, you can't put these three things in in a package together. It doesn't exist. Like you have to do it this way. And we're like, we don't want to do it that way. We want to do it this way. And so I guess we'll call it like being a little hard headed in terms of like, we had a vision for what we wanted to do, and we just did it and we just kind of like kept hitting the pavement and like reaching out to people that we thought would be experts that maybe like led us the wrong way or other experts that led us the right way, but it was really just like continuing to knock on doors until we kind of got the answers we wanted. And we proved that we could do it. It was just we took the longer road, I'd say.
Well, I think that people tend to think that things happen overnight because all of a sudden you hear of them or you're like, oh, this is brand new. It just came out. Well, no, they've been working on that for 8 years and it was out. It's just now getting the recognition and being accessible. Whereas before, lack of resources or being small or new, etc., it takes a little while.
I will say one other comment about your question, Justine, because I think it's actually a comment and a compliment to Lisette. She is like she has like gut feelings about things, and it was like 2019 and COVID it was like 2019 going into 2020, and we had just started really putting our money into the company, hired a brand agency, we were developing the brand, the product, everything. And COVID hit in March. And I remember talking to her on the phone and thinking, like, Lisette, I think we should just like hold. Like, I think my intuition was like, wait a minute. And Lisette said something super interesting. And it like literally, I think about it to this day. And she says, Katy, this is like the one thing right now in a very dark time that's making me feel happy inside. And I think we should just try to do this right now because I think it's going to make other people really happy to see something in the market that is sunny and full of light. And I'm really glad, she had that feeling because she's right. I'm glad we started when we did, even though it was a hard time.
I can imagine. And it's a hard time to start, and it's a hard time to, create a new path because it was uncharted territory, right? So even if you had been in the industry, you'd have to figure out how to re-navigate it because it was the supply chain. It was people didn't want to touch things. People didn't want to go to the store. I mean, it was just completely different. Um, and the way that you went about it, you avoided having to pay for space on the shelves too. Um, and it became more common practice back then to go direct to consumer. So in some ways, I think it was it allowed people to do things in a new way and gave people the ability to be successful earlier on. So now that you're in the CPG market, right? Um, and I'm sure there's a lot of people in this market. There's startup CPG. There's all these different organizations that provide amazing resource support and network. What do you think the greatest thing you got was by being part of some of these communities in your journey?
I mean, my like top number one thing that changed for Sunnie was in 2022. So it was almost 2 years ago. No, December of 22, we went to the Nosh Live Pitch Slam. We got invited to their pitch event. And at that time, we were super uncertain about what we were going to do with the company. We were underfunded. We were trying to grow, but it was hard. We had crumbs in our bank account. And we weren't sure. We were like literally not sure what we were going to do. We got invited to pitch and we thought, okay, well, this is a great opportunity. Like this seems like something we could actually like do. So we get there and we're mixing it up with all these new people we'd never met before. And lo and behold, we win the pitch competition. Yeah.
Congratulations.
And honestly, Justine, like that was like if there's certain points in the company, that was a turning point in the company for us because it gave Lisette and I the confidence to not only continue, but to realize that there is a gap and a need in the market. It's not just us seeing it, it's a lot of other people.
Wow, that's amazing. And so when you were going to this pitch contest and you were preparing for it, was there any hesitation? Were you concerned? Did you know how to pitch?
No, we watched a lot of pitch videos,
Okay.
to be honest. Like we
Okay.
watched a lot of like pre-pitch videos. We saw their decks and, we had our own deck, but we kept we just put it together. We really focused on like our why and why we existed and why like we needed to fill the gap. And then kind of like our distribution plans, but we really just focused on like what was the mission of the company. But it was a lot of research on like, all right, how do we do this?
And so if another founder came up to you and said, okay, I'm working on my pitch, what are top two things you think are most important so that I can successfully pitch my company? What would you say?
Yeah, I mean, I would personally say like really focus on why you exist in the market and why you're different. That's like the big thing that, I mean, we still get asked today, right? Because we're always pitching to people is what makes you different and why are you going to stand out on the shelf that'll make consumers want to pick you up. That at least is my number one advice. Katy, I don't know if you have something different or similar.
In addition to knowing your why, but why do you have a durable business idea? Because there's a lot of flash in the pan products out there that kind of hit the market fast as all they're gone. How is it that you're changing for the long term and like how you can exist and ultimately look for an exit or a plan forward for yourself? Like how are you different in that respect? I think that's really important to know your end game right when you start.
Did you guys get feedback on your pitch on why you won? Like why did they what made you guys stand out from their perspective?
It was more of like the innovation and idea behind it. Like one of the judges on the panel was like Patrick Schwarzenegger, and he has his own product. But he like one of his comments was, "I remember just recently telling somebody like, why has nobody updated the Lunchable game? Because that's a lot of times what we get kind of compared to is the Lunchable. So for us, it was both like the white space that we were actually going after, and then product taste and quality.
Right. That makes a lot of sense. So now that you have won this and you realize this, at this point, or where in the process, did you guys decide to bootstrap or raise money for the company?
We wanted to raise money, but it was really hard to do that in early 23. It was hard. So we ended up bootstrapping. We just kind of like hobbled along for a little while. And then we started, and I think I don't think I know. In March of 23, I remember because it was my birthday. Remember, Lisette? I was sitting like at the spa or something fabulous for myself, and got the email from Target. Target says, you got your item numbers, you're going into stores later this year. And I think that was about the time where Lisette and I like called each other on the phone. We're like, okay, we've got Target. It's going to put us in 200 stores later this year. It's time to think through how we professionalize the product, update manufacturing, the labels, everything. Let's go for it. And that's really what started, I will say, like this next chapter of the company. It was like a thrust moment where we were like, all right, if Target's saying yes, that's a very good indicator to investors and others that we'd been talking to. And that just started to bring a lot more interest toward us, whether it was funding, advisory, all that good stuff.
And so did you then go look to raise money?
Yes, we did. So we started raising later that year, and we started bringing in some dollars. And this is, Lisette, maybe you want to talk about this because it's your idea, about the crowd raising from our customers.
Yeah, we did it in a different way. So 2023 is when we started the raise. And, as you know, we started in COVID. Like we've always been against headwinds, right? Meaning like the industry changed for funding. So there weren't as many dollars going out. And so we were trying to get, we were pitching and we were pitching. And one of the challenges for us was like, you're too early. We want to wait. You're too early. We want to wait. And we got that a lot. And as we were kind of coming to holiday time, we're like, well, why don't we just bring this up to our customers, because our customers are our number one fans anyways. They've already tried the product. They love the product. And so we did open up like a friends and family round to our customers to be able to get involved. And we did raise some capital that way. And that was kind of the propeller to that fundraise. And then we were able to secure some bigger partners within that raise and close it in the earlier part of 24.
Nice. So that was your first time raising money. Are there any tips that you might share to other founders that were useful for yourself or that you learned looking back?
Well, I'll say that we got feedback very early on from other founders raising, and I'll never forget somebody being like, once you get to 100 conversations, then you'll start to see the yeses. And it's like 100 conversations, you've got to be kidding me. And we have the Excel sheets to prove it. Like there are a lot of no's. And I think that's back to like being an entrepreneur and like you just keep going. Like one door closes and you just keep knocking, and you eventually find the people that just believe in what you're doing, not like where you are in that exact moment, but like your vision and the plan of what the product and the company can become. So they are out there, you will find them, but I agree with the previous feedback. It's 100 plus conversations at least to start really getting traction.
That's amazing though. Congratulations. What a big, milestone that is. So now that you're in Target, where else have you been able to solidify? Because I would imagine that that was just the beginning of what was to come.
I'll talk a bit about the distribution. So the Target deal, it started in October of 23. So we've been on the shelf for about a year now. And that was a huge other kind of demographic of customer that we were able to speak to, which has been and continues to be a great win for Sunnie. But we also knew we wanted to penetrate natural and specialty because we wanted to win her over in equity building grocery like a Whole Foods and Sprouts and other natural stores. Because we were a unique product, they don't carry Lunchables. The biggest issue getting on the shelf in Sprouts and Whole Foods was people didn't know where to put us in the store, right? Whereas easy
Right.
for a conventional store to be like, oh, you sit near the Lunchables dunker things. Like that makes sense to them. So it really boils down to like persistence. Like, and I think obviously Lisette shared about the conversations it takes to fundraise. That same type of persistence and tenacity is what it took for us to get the buyers at Whole Foods and Sprouts to take calls with us. And at that time, we did not have any brokers helping us make this happen. We were just still a team of two trying to get those people on the phone. I will say that Whole Foods took us, we actually just got on the dippers onto the shelf last week. And that took 4 years
Congratulations.
of conversations, and we have the emails to prove it that it took that long. But I think in this, in particular with Whole Foods, I do believe that they want to invest in emerging early stage brands in the right way at the right pace, and they do a good job of incubating that. So we're excited to get the shelf space in Southern California.
So, okay, so now currently you have a variety of different little packages, right? I'm wondering, what does it look like for the future of Sunnie? Are you looking to expand that? If we look at the next 3 to 5 years, what can we expect from Sunnie?
That's my favorite topic. I will, because I do a lot of R&D in my own kitchen, but yeah, you'll continue to see, we really want to build out that refrigerated set of fresh snacks. So kind of what I mentioned earlier, like nostalgic flavors, think about like other nostalgic flavors you haven't seen from us yet, like those are in the pipeline. And then we're also looking at building a bigger format. So if you see like our snack box, it might be larger so it fits like a whole lunch. So there's a lot of ideas and innovation that we have kind of coming out in the pipeline in the next few years.
Exciting. So, for those folks that, whether they live in California or elsewhere, where can they find your
Yeah,
product?
so we're very focused in the Southern California, so I'll call it the SoPac region right now. So SoCal, Arizona, Nevada, Utah. You'll find us in Whole Foods there. You'll find us in Sprouts. You'll find us in Gelson's, Bristol Farms, Erewhon, those type of specialty stores. And we are working very hard on getting distribution. Oh, actually, Justine, I know you're in Northern California. We just launched at Nugget Market this week.
Ah, okay. You got to get
Yes,
into
Woodlands
Woodlands too. That's
to
my
go
go-to.
to.
That's my go-to market. But Nugget
Okay,
is very
so Northern
close.
California is key.
So,
We want to really get Northern California going. Also, the Pacific Northwest, we have some accounts that are going to launch there early next year, and then really looking at like the New York. Um,
I was going to say, what's going on with the right coast? I'm just kidding. The right,
yeah,
the left. Anyway,
we're
what's going
working on
on
like
with the East Coast?
Wegmans for the East Coast. That would be an anchor account we'd love to see launch Sunnie out there. So we've got some good distribution plans, but really trying to focus on natural specialty, get it cooking, and then move into more conventional stores.
I mean, you know where else I could see them? Not that you asked me to brainstorm with you because you did not, but I'm thinking airlines.
Yeah.
Yes, we've they are on our list. So
Air,
we've been having conversations and we agree. Like for us, we've talked a lot about a grocery store, but we really see the product shine on the go, right? Airports, airlines, convenience stores,
the
hospitals.
vending machines that are
Yep,
refrigerated that have the
Yep.
healthy snacks.
yeah, absolutely.
I mean, there's so many options. So excited for you guys. I can't wait to see you guys when I go to the SFO airport and I can pull one down. I may have to wait till I go to Southern California next week for Thanksgiving to pop into a shop to see them. But in the meantime, if anybody does not live in the in Southern California or any of those areas you
Oh
mentioned, are
yeah.
they still available
Oh
online,
yeah.
direct to consumer?
Nationwide.
Because I want to make sure that
Yep.
everyone has access. How would somebody that wanted to buy them online go about
Go
finding you?
to www.feelsunnie, FEELSUNNIE.com.
Wonderful. Katy, Lizette, thank you so much
Thank
for joining me
you.
today. I'm really excited to see your product, explode in so many different ways in so many different places. And when you have more things that you're trying out, I'd love to continue to try them.
Wonderful.
So keep
Thank
me
you.
posted. And love
Absolutely.
to follow your journey. Continue to follow your
Thank
journey, I
you.
should say.
Yeah. Thank you so much. You'll be our official taste tester.
I can't wait. I'm now going to say
I
that
like
that's
that.
part of my bio.
There you go.
Tester for Feel Sunny. Yeah, there we go. So for those of you watching the podcast or listening to the podcast, I should say, don't forget you can tune in to our video cast on YouTube at Next Gen Purpose. And this is the Essential Ingredients video cast. And we do, for those watching this, don't forget you can listen to us on the go wherever you listen to your podcast. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a review. That's the way we hear from you what you want to hear from us. So till next week, thank you guys again.